You ever find yourself in the middle of a solo and you hear something in your head you'd love to be able to just jump up and play a note that you want to just jump up and grab, and you're afraid to do that because you might hit a clam, so you fall back to the old stuff, the old riffs and licks you've been playing forever, and a little sad and frustrated, you look up and say,
"It's pentatonic time again."
And if you've thought to yourself, how awesome would it be if there really was a method that could teach me how to confidently play what I feel like playing in the moment? You've come to the right video, because this is part 1 of the Play What You Feel series. And in this video, Connect the Dots, I'm going to show you a method that's going to have you floating up and down the fretboard like gravity doesn't apply to you. I'm Carvel, this is Guitar Creative, let's go. Now this is KeyWeaver. I'll show you how to get free access to it in a bit. And in this series, we're going to be soloing over a chord progression in the key of E using C sharp minor 7, G sharp minor 7, A and E. But in this video, I'm starting with the first chord, C sharp minor 7, so I can show you this connect the dots method over just one chord, which I have selected here. Notice the color-coded notes. Those are the 4 C sharp minor 7 chord notes. And then the other notes are the surrounding notes of the E major scale. So just remember, the chord progression is in the key of E. I've also limited the view to just these frets and strings. So let me start this C sharp minor track. So here's the big picture. We have 3 groups of notes. Each one is a cluster of the same 4 chord notes, just in different positions. Now, notice these notes right here. Those 2 notes belong to both of these groups. And I call these anchor notes because they tie the groups together, so you're never really starting from scratch in a new position. You're always connecting neighboring groups using notes that are common to both groups. And up here, these are the 3 anchor notes common to these 2 groups. Now, always listen to the notes over the chords. Notice how stable the chord notes feel played over the chord. The other notes kind of range in stability. Some produce a lot of tension and some not so much. So practice kind of weaving in and out of the chord notes and just listen to that pull between stable and unstable. Now we're going to start out focusing on the shapes made by the chord notes. But we're not going to ignore the note names. In fact, I'm going to show you a process in this video that makes learning note names go really fast. But first, let me show you the connect the dots method that's going to really set you free. Now what ties all this together is a 3-session practice routine that helps you start playing with a lot of freedom and confidence right away. And before we start, one rule that applies to all 3 sessions, I want you to take micro breaks. Between reps, between sessions, close your eyes, empty your mind for 60 seconds or so. No phone, no email, just let it go. That's not resting, that's when your brain is encoding what you just practiced. All right, here we go. Practice session number 1. We're going to learn the shapes and anchor notes. So for each group, work the notes over the backing track. You're already seeing the note names in KeyWeaver. Because right now, we're just going to focus on the shapes, and we're going to nail down the note names in a bit. But for each position, learn where the chord notes sit and how the other scale notes fill in around them. Practice each group separately, but always know where the anchor notes are between groups. Then take an extended break. Now, with every pass through this session, there's a neuroscience principle working in your favor. It's called dual coding. You're creating multiple pathways to the same memory at the same time. You're seeing the shape on the fretboard diagram, your touch, you're feeling the shape under your fingers, you're hearing the notes over the track. So even if it takes a few passes before it sticks, that's okay. The process is working. And every pass is making you a better improviser. Now, no matter what style of music you like, the notes all have the same relationship, and there are a bunch of styles to choose from, like this minor track in a Latin jazz style. So once you can find each shape without looking at the diagram, move to the next session. In this session, we're going to transition between groups. So during this practice session, focus on smoothly transitioning between positions. And I want you to use two basic techniques. The first technique is slide. So as you improvise in one group, slide from any note in that current position to any note in a neighboring group without breaking your rhythm. This is going to force you to work out finger transitions to make the transition sound as smooth and natural as possible, like this. Now, the second technique is the anchor note pivot. So as you improvise in one group, play an anchor note and then move your hand to play the same note in a neighboring position with a different finger, and then just continue without breaking rhythm. You can add a slide to it. It can kind of make for some cool sounding transitions too, like this. The reason for this anchor note pivot concept, or this technique, is it forces you to reset your hand position, and you want to learn to do that as smoothly as you can. Once you've mastered smooth transitions between neighboring clusters, we're going to take another extended break and then start the next practice session. Okay, practice session 3. This is going to be your first taste of freedom. At this point, you should be able to start with any note in any group and then move to any note in any other group. Don't just move between neighboring groups. Try moving in and out of groups at will. The lowest group all the way to the highest group, and maybe the highest group back to the lowest group. Let me show you what I mean. Notice that we're still restricting ourselves to 3 positions on just 3 strings. And that's because you want to be able to get a taste of freedom in your playing before you have to learn every note on every string all across the fretboard. But the more you do this, the easier it's going to be to add more strings and more clusters. But here's something else that opens up when you know where the notes are. Bends. See, most players only use bends as part of some memorized riff. But when you know exactly where the next scale note sits on any string, you always have a target you can bend up to. And just remember to bend to the exact pitch of the next note. And that takes a little practice, kind of some ear training, so take your time. I promise you're going to come up with some new sounds you hadn't even thought of. Now remember, I promised to show you how to really speed up learning the note names? Well, here's the thing. Your brain has already done a lot of that work. Every time you looked at the diagram, your brain was quietly filing away those note names. Cognitive scientists call that incidental learning. Another thing your brain latched onto, though, is the fact that learning notes inside shapes goes even faster. Think about how you read. You don't go letter by letter, you read whole words. The letters are in there, but you don't stop to see the letters, you see the word as just one thing. Well, the same thing's happening here. The shapes you learned are the words, the notes in each shape are the letters. You see the shape and the notes come along for the ride. Your brain stores the whole group as one chunk, not 5 separate things. Okay, to access KeyWeaver, including all the backing tracks used in this video, just go to guitarcreative.com and get your forever free account. There's no credit card required. You get access to all the premium features for the first 7 days. And if you want to upgrade, you can do that when you're ready. And there are a bunch of how-to videos on how to get the most out of this, and the other tools like ScaleMate, Arpeggio Flow, Riff Lab, and there's an Interval Madness game, and Jam Track Zone. So in the next video of this Play What You Feel series, we're going to jump right into improvising over this progression in Jam Track Zone. And thanks to a couple of really cool features built into it, you're going to be able to improvise over the whole progression while you're learning to connect the dots for the other chords too. So go ahead and get your free account and come back to watch part 2. I'm Carville, this is Guitar Creative. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.